Hey, welcome, Knife Bros. I'm Josh Almighty, this is Josh Almighty Blades, and today we're going to be taking a look at two incredibly popular and incredibly strong locks. Today we're going to be directly comparing the Super Lock by Snex and the Shark Lock by Andrew Demko. Alright, ladies, gentlemen, let's talk some knives. So, first of all, let's do a size comparison. Actually, let me make sure I'm zoomed in enough. Let's go ahead and pull that in just a bit. Okay, perfect. All right. So, first of all, let's get some measurements. Okay, so the cutting edge on the it's about 3 1/4. Overall blade length on the Super Lock, we're looking just at, well, I'd call that 3 3/4. Little new to this, guys, bear with me, you know what I mean? Overall length, we're looking at just at 8 inches on the Super Lock. And then we have the Shark Lock, which, by the way, this is the Flytanium Arcade featuring the Shark Lock. And then we have on the Snex Super Lock, this is the Civivi Vision. Anyways, don't know why I didn't mention that already. But blade length on this guy, we are just over 3 inches. Your cutting edge is 2 5/8. And let's see here, overall length. Yeah, again, right at 8 inches. I know you guys can't see this from the top down, but so the Vision FG is just slightly longer. The weight on these guys is just about the same. I forgot to grab my scale, but hey, it's a work in progress. Next video, I'll have my scale out to give you guys an exact weight, but neither one of these are incredibly heavy objects or super hard to carry. But back to the reason for this video was directly comparing these two very comparable locks. Now, I started out with the Vision FG, which, by the way, if you're not familiar with the Civivi Vision, it is an improvement upon the Wii Vision R. The FG, the lock itself does not pull out. There's a stopper in place, so this is completely locked in. Also, due to the lock running down the spine and being slightly exposed, as you squeeze this lock, you further engage the lock into the blade, and basically you would break the blade itself 100 times before you would break the lock. Is the Shark Lock stronger? Yes, but it's such overkill on these, small EDCs that it's never going to be a factor, really. At any rate, I will show you guys if I can get in here. So this tiny little hole right here, this actually shows you how the lock works. As the blade travels around, the end of this, which is, well, you can't get a good shot of that, but as the blade travels around, there's a notch cut out, which you start to see, and then that little piece of this that's rounded over pushes down and pops into that. So that is completely locked out. There's a tiny bit of play in mine, but as soon as you touch it, it immediately locks in. I have the black Damascus and a aftermarket Timascus Civivi clip. A little bit of anodizing there, but beautiful clip, absolutely gorgeous knife. I mean, as far as just wow factor, just this knife, I know it's a matter of taste, but to me, this was immediately when I saw one of my favorite knives. Fantastic ergos, fantastic choke up position, and again, the weight is nothing to complain about. Out of the two, though, the Arcade is slightly heavier, but that's only because right now I have switched out to these titanium scales. The original aluminum scales are a bit lighter,
and I'll maybe leave in the comments the actual weight of each, since I, again, forgot to grab my scale. But the reason I wanted to do this comparison more or less was just to bring something to the attention of, you know, the average knife buyer who may not know. I was unaware of the differences between these two locks. First of all, the Shark Lock, and I believe this is on every model of Shark Lock, the back springs, the way this lock functions, it is under tension, like legitimately, all the way out to like here. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you go for a typical, you know, thumb push, and you actually have to break way out here before the knife will stop being engaged by that back spring, which can be really tricky. There's a bit of a learning curve with this knife. Now, true, once you figure it out and you kind of press almost, I don't want to say down, but you are pressing out and kind of in a downward motion on this, the way you engage the thumb stud, and that seems to just kind of keep you in track where you roll around toward the front. I mean, the slow roll obviously is fantastic with this knife, but you can definitely kick the knife out with, you know, plenty of snap. It's just that it does have a little bit of a learning curve, and me personally, just now let's compare that directly to the Sneck Super Lock. Again, function is almost exactly the same, but unlike the Shark Lock, the back springs on this are way into here, right? So as soon as you break, I think right about there, you are no longer, you know, engaging the back springs whatsoever. So you are free to just kind of let it snap. Because of that, I would say as far as ease of use, especially if you're, you know, new to the knife world or new to this type of lock, without any question, the Sneck Super Lock wins simply in terms of ease of use. Now, on the other hand, from everything that I've been told, at least, you know, it's not like I've went out and intentionally tried to break my knives, guys. I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're one of those, you know, crazy diehards that do,
that's the Buck 119.
The Shark Lock is said to be a fair bit stronger. I think something like the Super Lock, which, you know, you could break the Damascus blade probably 10 times before you're ever going to do anything to the lock or the handle itself into, I really don't think it's too much worth mentioning. Now, from there, I'm going to move on in this comparison. So ease of use, hands down, goes to the much cheaper, more affordable. I think you can get a Vision FG. It won't be the Damascus, but I believe you can buy this knife for like $65-$70. I mean, find a code, you might be down to under 60. There's a reason MC Metal Complex calls this like the best budget knife on the market, dollar for dollar. Now, I wouldn't say that. There's several other knives, even Civivi knives, like the Conspirator, which I've done a short video on, we'll touch back on later, that I believe are probably better knives. Kaiser definitely has some that I think steal the show in that department, but I can certainly understand the argument being made, also just due to the strength of the lock. But as far as ease of manipulation, you know, I was under the impression that the Shark Lock was going to be wildly thicker, you know, as far as the tab in the back, and comfortability was concerned. It is definitely not. It is definitely not wider. It is almost in no way more comfortable. I do like this jimping. There is some, hold on, if I can get my camera to focus. There we go. There is some incredibly fine jimping running along this, and it does definitely provide some meaningful traction. It really locks you in. I mean, you can just touch that almost anywhere, and, you know, and it pulls into the meat of your finger and keeps you straight. This one, there is some functional jimping. Hold on, let me show you guys. We're up here, rounded over. Whoops. Focus. Okay, really? Wow, it is not wanting to focus. Anyways, you'll apparently have to take my word for it. There is, oh, there you can see, just a bit. Wrapped right around to here, about where my finger's stopping, there is some functional jimping, kind of locking you in. It's not as aggressive or well done as the jimping on the arcade, but it's still there, it does the job. And and next what I want to talk about is the amount of pressure and distance that the buttons have to actually travel. For instance, the Vision itself, you can see this is fully pulling down. That's it. So that small movement, that is completely, I'll do this up a little bit closer so you can really see the range of movement. That's it. Like, you can almost just press down in at an angle and it pushes you completely locked out. On the other hand, on all Shark Locks and also this arcade, when you go to pull down, I mean, this would be the movement on the Vision, you know, but I'm still locked in here. You know what I mean? At that same travel distance. With the arcade and every Shark Lock, you have to move all the way down to here. Did you guys see that range of motion? All the way down to here before the blade is free. I mean, you can get close and just whip it past that little, you know, pull point, like right there. I don't know if you guys can hear that, where it won't deploy. Which it's easy to get used to, don't get me wrong. I mean, these aren't like major complaints. It's just, simply put, just to support the idea, without any question, the SNEC Super Lock is easier to deploy, and I think functionally, in reality, as far as what guys like us are doing with pocket knives, it's just as strong, or it's as strong as it's ever going to need to be. Next, we are going to talk about the looks department. This is completely subjective, an absolute 100% matter of taste, and I gotta tell you, in this particular case, I'm a fan of the classic clip point, even though this is more of a drop point, but as you can kind of see with that little swedge cut, it resembles a classic clip point. Actually, in fact, it was a Kershaw Whirlwind that my father bought me in high school that got me into the knife world. And as far as classic lines, what I would call classic lines anyways, this is a beautiful knife. Absolutely fantastic looking knife. And a more modern design, featuring this, okay boys, what are we calling this? Chef's Reverse Tanto something? I have no idea. Anyways, you guys let me know. You know, Reverse Tanto, big bellied chef's knife, I don't know. But in terms of just simple appearance, this is also an incredibly gorgeous knife. And I really can't give a clear winner here. This is going to come down to the model that you buy. Of course, keep in mind that the arcade is probably, arguably anyways, the most customizable knife on the market. You can buy different clips. This has a deep carry clip, but you can buy different clips that aren't as deep. You can buy these inserts. They have them in Timascus, which aren't available right now, but they have these in Timascus. They have them in every color of the rainbow. You can buy black scales, green tinted scales, aluminum scales. These are a titanium scale that is, wow, my lighting. Again, work in progress, guys. We will get better as we go, I promise you. But these kind of have this, let's see, what are we looking at here? Blasted finish, kind of to hide scratches, which I really love. I mean, if you're going to work this knife, that would definitely be the way to go. But due to this sleek, modern, ridiculous design, I absolutely can't just hands down give it to the arcade. I mean, there are going to be people, you know, and God, it's arguable even for me, that no matter what configuration you put on your particular arcade, are always going to prefer the looks of the Vision. I mean, she is a Vision. So I will leave that up to you. But next we're going to talk about ergonomics. Ergonomic lines on this knife, and they both have some huge advantages. First of all, the Vision, very neutral handle. I mean, you can get down here, you can choke up all the way up to here, and then there is this absolutely fantastic, designers, please take notes. This is how you do a forward finger choil. you can get all the way up here right on top of that blade to press. And it is incredibly, incredibly comfortable. So as far as ergonomic lines, this is up there. I mean, keep in mind you are pressing back on the lock itself, but you do not notice that. You don't feel that at all. Like, there is no hot spots, no discomfort. Like, you could work. I have worked this knife, you know, for 2-3 hours with no blisters, no pain. Now, I don't have quite as much experience carrying the Arcade, but I don't need it. I can tell you right away that when it comes to as far as ergonomic lines, this is, in my opinion, one of the most comfortable handle scales ever designed. Flytanium, you guys absolutely knocked it out of the park with your first knife design. The way that these are chamfered on the top and drop down, and the way that this small knife, relatively small profile, fills the hand, it feels like a much larger knife. Very substantial in hand, and incredibly comfortable. Like, yeah, I mean, considering that the Vision is, you know, as every other knife YouTuber will tell you, one of the most perfect EDCs and most comfortable carries, has a beautiful, absolutely perfect forward finger choil. Still, I'm going to give this category to the Arcade. No question. So I know what you're thinking. Is this Super Lock versus the Shark Lock, or the Arcade versus the Vision FG? And I gotta tell you, it's a little bit of both. You know, I mean, how could it not be, right? If you were going to ask me which one of these knives I personally would recommend, both, without any question, without any hesitation, the answer is both. If you have the $200 to spend, and not only that, but then the ability to further customize your Arcade, this, like, a lot of people still to this day, just because it came out, you know, a while back, are sleeping on this knife. Like, if you don't own one of these, do not sleep on this knife. This is one of the most fantastic EDCs that you can buy for that price range. Yes, of course, there's the Microtech MSI. We're going to put out a video on that shortly. But yeah, just the way you can customize this knife to your own liking, like as far as just a one and done EDC, I would prefer this to almost every Spyderco and Benchmade on the market. It'd have to be something really special from Spyderco to tip the scales, in my opinion. And as far as the Vision goes, if you're looking to spend $65-$70 on an EDC, well, you don't need me to tell you. Everyone's already told you. You can literally do no better. But that, again, a matter of taste. I do have knives that I do think are better, and that's a whole other video, but we will get to that. In the meantime, though, these are two fantastic EDCs for the money. Two amazing, amazing designs. Just keep in mind that as far as a learning curve is concerned, the Shark Lock definitely has one, you know, and there are going to be some folks out there who hit that and are just done. You know what I mean? Instantly, that is not going to be the knife for them. And I understand that, but you're wrong. Practice. Give it a little bit of time. You know what I mean? I mean, hell, be honest. When you started out, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do a reverse flick. I mean, I could because, you know, I'm almighty. At any rate, these things do take practice. But these are two fantastic knives. I can absolutely recommend both of them. Honestly, I a little bit ambidextrous, so I carry two knives, and these two, oh, that is just good stuff right there. You know what I mean? Pull those out of the pocket and just, you know, kind of Wolverine style, go, rah! It's money. Two beautiful knives. This is a matter of opinion. This is your knife, but I would strongly recommend you to at absolute least pick up one of them to experience this style of lock. Also, a couple of things I want to get out of the way on the channel. We're going to be doing a 100 subscriber giveaway. We had a knife lined out, but now we might be doing something a little bit different. It's very possible that we might be doing something more in this direction for the 100 subscriber giveaway. Either way, before we get there, you will be notified. You will know exactly what knife is being given away. And you will have your chance to enter to win a free knife. I also run, this is Josh Almighty from Metal Complex's Patreon, I also run an event called Bless a Knife Bro. You can come and check that out. It's the first Saturday of every month, 6 p.m. Central Time. It's like $1 to join MC's Patreon. And listen, guys, we have a backer on my channel who is helping us out. We have some amazing knives coming. Now, I can't afford these knives. I am so blessed by a very dear and good friend to help me out, help me and my son out in our little pursuit of the YouTube knife dream. But we have some amazing knives coming, so bear with us. As we continue to grow, we will reinvest in the channel, you know, maybe a little bit better camera, a little better setup, yada, yada, yada. But we're doing what we can with what we got, boys and girls. But stick with us. I mean, my goal here is not only to spread, you know, like, just my general love of EDC, but also my love of this community. And I really want to give you knives. I want to give the world a free knife. When it comes to waking up every day, looking down and seeing something that you absolutely adore, you know, that someone gifted to you as a blessing that you get to enjoy every day for free for no reason at all, man, that is really, really sweet. So I will leave you guys with that. Check out the Flytanium Arcade and the Vision FG. I will try to link them in the description if I'm that good at YouTube. If not, I'll figure it out by the next video. But that is all. That's it for me, Josh Almighty Blades, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace out, everybody.